Hey friends, we would like to share our experience, what it was like to be excommunicated from the Mormon Church in 2015.
Yeah, first of all, we were very devout Latter-day Saints, Mormons. Tried to just do it at the highest level. We have 7 kids. That's kind of part of it.
That's kind of part of it. I was in the bishopric twice. Yeah.
Different callings. We both had different callings that were
lots of high demand callings. Yep.
That kind of thing.
So we were well respected.
Yeah.
And at that time we had been in that ward for 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. 18 years in that ward, and we were in our late 40s.
Yeah, it was about 2009, 2010. I started kind of getting into the deeper doctrines of the church, really studying, because that's something that I've always enjoyed, is understanding deep things. And that kind of led me down some rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Where I discovered things weren't quite what I'd been taught my whole life.
I, on the other hand, was Mormoning quite well. It was working out great for me. I was not aware of what he was studying at all.
Yeah, and part of that was just, when your whole life identity is set up around this thing and you start to discover it, you don't want to make any sudden moves, or I didn't want to alarm her because I hadn't really studied it all out yet to kind of figure out where this rabbit hole was going to lead me. So
rabbit hole. Anyway.
Freudian stuff.
Yes.
Anyway, that started to kind of cause a bit of a divide between us.
A huge divide. Okay, so let's just fast forward. Made the decision that the church wasn't true, and then I was faced with what am I going to do about this? And that was really difficult because it was kind of like do or die. At this point, your family actually...
Yeah, they found out that we had been thinking about things differently than kind of mainstream Mormonism.
And that's a whole nother story in and of itself that we're not going to get into in this.
But what happened was my family kind of got together out of their concern for us and decided to contact our local authorities. We live in Arizona, they're in Utah for the most part. And we got called in. And
we got tattled on, y'all.
And there wasn't like a single light bulb swinging above us as we got questioned, but it kind of felt like that.
It kind of did, yes. Very barbaric, very not loving at all. This was not a court of love when these kind of things went down. But so I had a decision to make pretty quickly. And I'll just let you know that I hadn't even looked into it at all. But knowing, I knew this man, like I know him really well. And I knew his heart, and I knew that he had just really, really struggled with even sharing some of the information. So literally as soon as I opened up to discovering truth, and it went sort of like this: I don't care what the truth is, I need the truth. And really I had to surrender and just release whatever outcome it was. And that's key here, actually, because once you do that, you're gonna learn some things. So long story short, I also came to my own realization that the church wasn't true. And so
And what's interesting is, for me, it took a really long time to discover that, to lay it out in my own mind. And your process was quite short, and that can be true in for lots of different people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a long time.
Well, because I'm going to be honest here, I have a strong inner voice that I've always had. Of course, I used to think that was the Holy Ghost. I've now come to know I just have a really strong intuition. We will talk about as we share more of our experiences, how that shows up for me. I consider myself deeply spiritual still. I did have to deconstruct all my beliefs of like a deity and outside of myself. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now, but understanding that is crucial. And when I opened up to that and I was led, like this inner voice kind of told me, people would think this is the devil, but it was that same loving inner voice that has always guided me to good. And it continued to. It was like showing me how of Brad's goodness. And so there were a lot of ways that I could trust, and I did. And yeah.
So yeah, we ended up going into our council, whatever they call it now.
So crazy.
Where the goal of the meeting for the men, it's, you know, with 15 other men in leadership in the church, and they kind of examined the facts of the case, what I was doing that was
So
against
stupid.
the
Yeah.
church or whatever, and making a decision whether I could remain a member or not.
Okay, so this part of the story I don't think is that crucial because we were excommunicated, okay? That's what's crucial. The other thing is my little court in the bishop's office with 3 little bishopric members, that was it, because I'm just a woman, y'all. So I didn't need 15 men to decide. And basically I just said, I need you all to understand I am not following my spouse out of the church. I needed them to understand that I was not doing this out of fear. I wasn't being coerced. I probably had my strongest, I don't even want to say witness, but just my ability to communicate was on point that night. So I felt really good about that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what happened right after. Immediately after we were excommunicated. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, that's when, you know, the shunning kind of
shunning,
begins.
yeah.
Because in our church community, we had callings, we were serving other people in those positions.
We were well liked. We were
got
well
released
respected.
immediately, both of us.
Yeah.
And then of course the rumors spread, and then you kind of become.
Well, they announce it in ward council. They announce.
Right, they announce it. People know it gets out, and you become kind of poisonous.
Mm-hmm. Stay away from them. They are dangerous.
And it's not even really spoken that much. It's just known. Do not talk to them. It's scary, right?
Look how scary
Same
they are.
kind of disease that we had.
So anyway, we're talking about it quite lightly because this was 9 years ago, y'all. But it was traumatic.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy for
so
us
difficult
and
for our family. At that time, we had 3 children married. No, hang on. One in the process of our 3rd was in the process of getting married. So we got to sit outside the temple when he was sealed. It was, that year I just, Anyway, we had 4 kids at home. Our daughter was at BYU, Idaho. Just so many things that we had to navigate at this time. The amount of trauma, the amount of just that this transition did put our family through. We could write volumes of books about it. And we're still working through a lot of the things. But that's why we're here sharing and being open, because we have done the work. We have done a shit ton of work.
Yeah. And just to put it into perspective again, just to remind, like, we had just lost our identity, you know, that we had been inbred with. Like, it was built into us.
It was
from day one. We had just lost a kind of a close relationship with our extended families because everything got weird really quick. We lost our local community, friends that we knew for many, many years. Things got really weird with. And so you really feel alone. Like, who am I, and does anyone like me anymore? That kind of thing. It was tough.
It was really tough for a really long time. And yeah, so you've heard me talk about my body going into shock. Well, some of you have heard that. I got really sick. My body went into shock because of the immense shunning, really, and how quickly it all happened. So yeah, I spent a couple years in bed and healing and in depression and anxiety, and it was really rough. And
yeah, and that was part, I think, of you kind of starting to rebuild, getting to the bottom to rebuild yourself.
Yes. This is where we just kind of deconstructed, just took all of our beliefs and went peeled away like the onion. What do I believe? I'm sure many of you are going through that. No matter what religion whatever belief system you were part of, if you've had any kind of a deconstruction, and there's many people that will choose to stay in their religion, in their church community, for the community, and I don't blame you, but this happened to us.
Yeah, we didn't have that choice. We got booted out. So yeah, we both went through our own kind of individual process of mourning the loss, trying to figure out things. I decided to kind of give up all belief and just kind of go back to what I could see, smell, touch, taste, my five senses, and just that's my world, my physical world, and kind of let go of anything that I consider spiritual. And that was good for me. I actually did need that to let go of all of it so it could be fleshed out, and then I could kind of start rebuilding up things through my own consciousness without some authority coming in from outside telling me who and what I am.
So, and I went through a similar journey. Mine was faster, and I don't know, just because of, who knows why it was that way, just the way I'm kind of wired. But I did just kind of put away all my spiritual beliefs. I set them aside and just kind of went to ground zero, and then built up. Or I guess I just kind of invited back in what belonged for me. And I do have spiritual beliefs, and it's, kind of different, but it's really rewarding for me. I don't believe I'm not part of any religion. I'm not part of any real belief system. I don't pay tithing. I don't donate to any organizations. I don't have a guru. So yeah, anyway, I'm my own guru. And actually that's one of the things we hope.
Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that.
Finding that, that inner.
Finding it within you, and there's a lot to be explored within.
Yeah. So there's a lot of details, that we kind of left out here. So we will continue to be open and talk about our experience, because it's an evolving story. It's an evolving experience. We're continuing to grow. We're learning. But one thing to keep in mind is we're about 9-10 years downstream from many of you if you're just leaving. So we know, we were not this composed. We know the struggle. We know the absolute gut-wrenching reality of losing your friends and family.
And your identity.
And your identity and your beliefs.
And I'll just tell you, you can rebuild it. And for me, I've always been a pretty happy person. I've enjoyed my life. I enjoyed it in Mormonism. I definitely enjoy it now. For me, I find myself more fulfilled.
True story.
Living this way, just feeling more aligned internally, more aligned with what I can observe and how the world works and how things work, and being able to change your beliefs. There's so much freedom in that, and it's awesome.
It feels really good. So why are we here? Because of the life that we've built, and we just want to share what is possible, because it is possible. It really is.
Yeah.
I would have never dreamt of the life that we have created together, not even in Mormonism. We'd be on senior missions right now. We're having so much more fun than that, but
yeah. And
this is our mission now. So brother and sister Olsen, you've been called to serve in the heretic mission of the ex-Mormon world. Just kidding. So anyway, that's it. Let us know if you have any questions and what topics you'd like to hear us talk about more. Take care, friends.